Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to 10-Minute Offense. This is the Sunday edition, our Sunday edition of the NFL. And so, guys, what I wanted to ask you guys, the Chargers have mentioned they want to get rid of Trey Turner just to create space. And like how fans react now, it's like if a player does it, like Deshaun Watson, he's a bad guy. But if an organization does it, it's just like it's the business part of it. But I just want to hear your take on it. Like, do you agree with the fans saying like it's a business side and like teams just have the right to do that? Or do you see like teams and players have the right to like get themselves out of a bad situation if they see so?
I'll go ahead and start this one off. I think that it should be equally received on both sides. So if we can understand that it's a business from the from the player's perspective, we can also understand it's a business from the organization's perspective too. But just to touch on that Trey Turner thing, I guess he was traded to the Chargers last year for Okung,
Yes,
and
exactly.
then they're getting rid of him this year. And I kind of feel bad for Herbert because he's going to have four new linemen potentially. I saw, three of them are up on their contract. So, I mean, just a bigger picture. Like, if you're a player, I think they all understand. And I know it's just a movie, but it reminds me of this scene from Moneyball when Billy Bean he's talking to Jonah Hill about how to tell players, you're getting traded. Because Jonah Hill, he was kind of feeling apprehensive, kind of nervous about telling a player,
Oh yeah.
well, we're trading you. And he's like, well, tell me how you'd say it. And he gets kind of, he beats around the bush. And Billy Bean's like, look, man, these are professional ball players. Just tell them they're getting traded. Here's your papers. And that's it. It's over. So I think you have to understand, like, at the end of the day, it's a business, it's entertainment. Hopefully we're entertaining you, but that's kind of how I see it.
And
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a little torn just because it's tough. I think people now, we all look at the owners, excuse me, and they're these billionaire owners. And people tend to be on the player's side. I'm kind of just torn. I'm in the middle. For me, it's all about how a particular player goes about it, Like I didn't really like, I know we talked about it a few weeks ago, the way Harden just kind of was a slug out there those last few games before he got
Yeah.
dealt, and I get there's contracts, but so I get technically the team is supposed to honor the contract just like the player. It's just, I used to look at it as like, well, in my job, I can't do that, but I'm also not a pro athlete. So everything is it's just a little bit different. The only thing, in touching on somebody like Deshaun Watson, if the organization, and I'm on his side and I want him to be a Bear, uh, my only thing with that particular situation, which I don't think I've ever said, is that if the organization is so bad, why did you sign that huge contract last season, right? Just before last season. Well, it's because he wanted to get paid. So I don't knock him for that. But, now he's in a situation where he might have, if Houston is so stupid that they actually don't trade him and he sits out, Houston's not going to get anything for him really, and he's going to sit out and not get paid. So there's just it just each situation is different, I guess. I don't have a clear cut answer for you, Julian.
nah,
It's a
I'm
tough question, man.
yeah, it's a tough situation. And just like to piggyback off of what you're saying, Steve, do you think why we're not hearing about a trade for Deshaun and Russell Wilson is the team they're like, are they waiting for draft day or waiting to see what best deal comes the next day, the next day, the next day after that?
I think teams are contacting Houston, Seattle. Uh, I think they're contacting those two teams about the two stud quarterbacks. It's the teams that are apprehensive, because once we touched on this too a couple weeks ago, once the draft hits, right? Um, yeah, of course, if the Jets draft Zach Wilson and Houston likes Zach Wilson, they can trade for Zach Wilson, which is still the number two pick. But I feel like you lose value because now the Jets might just be like, no, we're going to keep this guy, and we like our draft picks that we got, over the 3-4 day weekend, and we're happy with the team. So I think I think it's definitely Houston that's making a mistake by not, if they don't get something done by draft day, I think they've lost a lot of value.
I hear you.
Yeah. So just to confirm, like if he sits out, he doesn't get paid, right?
He does not get paid if he sits out.
A dime if he doesn't play any games, right?
No. Right.
So like if I'm the Houston GM and man, you have a tough job, like what's your option at this point? Like if you really want to build the team for the future, don't you just kind of have to trade him and be like, all right, well, that's it. We're cutting bait and we're moving him, because what else are we going to get? If they don't play him or he sits out next season, he doesn't play, they'll probably end up being, 2-14, something like that. They'll get a high draft pick. And where are you left with next year? Like, so you just paid, you didn't pay him anything, but you didn't get anything for him either.
Right. I mean, if I were them, Russ did it on his own supposedly and said he's got these 4 teams he wants to go to. But if I were Houston, because
I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't know why. I just don't see these guys getting dealt. They're too valuable.
I agree. But if I were Houston, what I would do is I would go to Deshaun and I would be like, give us a list of 5 or 6, because he has a no trade clause, right? Like Russ does. Give us a list of 5 or 6 teams that you want to go to. I know the reports are like he's saying behind the scenes he'll go anywhere. He doesn't care. But work on something, because the draft it's really not that far away. So
exactly, it's like 2 months away.
Yeah, I don't really know what they're waiting for. I feel like that situation is really unsalvageable,
and I'm all for player empowerment, but I think in the NFL it's just way different, man. It's not like the NBA where you can team up with a superstar and whatever. Like there's so much more to building a successful football team or organization. I understand Deshaun's great and all, but there's no guarantee he wins wherever he goes, So it just, to me in the NFL, like, if you're not a ride or die for your organization, then there's no guarantee you're going to win somewhere else.
Exactly. NFL is tough to do that, to join, link up, and try to create your team, because you have 3 teams basically on a football team to get the job done perfectly at when you need to.
Remember those Eagles teams when they had like Vick and Macklin and Jackson and McCoy? Like they didn't do shit. They didn't do anything, So
true.
It's about coaching and strong ownership and all that. So I don't know, if I'm Deshaun, like go play, get paid, man. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, because I also believe he gets fined if he misses training camp and stuff like that. So
the Le'Veon Bell situation.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And look, he's like, like what's he really done? I mean,
exactly, because football is different, like from getting that high contact.
Yeah, I know their positions are different. Running back takes more.
That's brutal. Yeah,
beatings than well, no, maybe not than QB, but we'll see. It's all sports shows, including our little show. It's all when it comes to NFL. It's Russell Wilson.
It's QB talk.
Yeah,
funny. Both those guys get sacked a lot, so I get it. Like they've been getting their butt kicked.
Make that deal. Who's more urgent? I feel like Houston's more urgent to make that deal than Seattle, because I feel Russell will play with the Seahawks if he's there, like you're saying, Javon. But as we've heard from Deshaun, he doesn't want to play with a new coach and with a team that's rebuilding. So I feel like they should have many assets as they need to gather to go on the path that they need to go on to battle your Titans.
Long way. I mean, if you were him, Julian, would you like sit out? What does he get paid? 35 million or something? Would you sit out for a season for that?
Honestly, I wouldn't. Like,
it's it's the second year of his big contract.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
maybe he's just bluffing, man. I don't know.
I swear I still haven't heard him actually say anything.
I haven't either.
At least Russ was on a podcast or something saying he's not happy with the O-line or like those type of decisions. But yeah, I haven't actually heard anything. I did find something on Russ, if you guys don't mind. You know how last week off camera we were talking about if he gets traded, then Seattle takes this huge, almost $40 million hit.
Yeah.
So I read, I'll just read it just right off of where I saw it on Twitter. If you trade Wilson this year, you create $37 million in cap space for 2022. The Seahawks would have $178 million next year, right? In 2022, by far the most in the NFL. You can comfortably restructure / extend contracts in 2021 to borrow tens of millions of dollars. So while a $39 million dead cap hit this year is inconvenient, they'd still have freedom and flexibility.
Inconvenient. I like that.
But so basically, it's not just like, oh, we're going to trade him and they're taking a $40 million hit. There's ways around it because they lose his contract for the next season and are able to restructure current deals to where they where they free up money currently. I'm not a cap guy, but
Seattle is tripping, man. They should do everything they can to make that guy feel at home. Dude, that they don't make Russell Wilsons.
No, you're right. Very true.
Yeah, what they should do is maybe get what's the guy from the Chargers, Trey Turner, and then trade for Orlando Brown. Doesn't want to be on the Ravens anymore, so just flip it on and be
there you go. Yeah,
you don't like our O line, so we're gonna fix it for you because we love you. So I haven't heard anybody say that. Actually, you heard it here first, guys.
that is the way to keep Russ in Seattle.
Or maybe he just doesn't vibe with Pete Carroll anymore. You know,
well, we've all had a manager that you have to get along with or something, man. You know,
they won a Super Bowl together too.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you know what I've said. The one issue when it comes to whether it's a cool guy like Russ or Deshaun or somebody like Harden is the fans. Your average fan gets annoyed with hearing that because it's like, especially during COVID, right? It's like people lost jobs, people have hours cut, people got to take on 2 or 3 jobs to make it. And like dudes, you know, that's the thing. Like, I know we only got a couple minutes left, but for me, I love Allen Robinson. I want him to stay a Bear. And I understand why pro football players don't want to get tagged because it's a 1-year thing. And if they get hurt, I get it. But it's like at the end of the day, dude, if you're going to make 18 million next season, man, like, all right, like, are you going to cry about that? That's where I see, that's why fans get upset. You know, that's why I've been upset in the past. It's like, Russ, you're making 39 million. Like, I'll go play QB. You can give me half that. You know, I won't make it out the first quarter, but I'll do it. So I just think that's, you know, where the disconnect.
First snap, dude.
Yeah, first snap, dude. I'm doing some Friday Night Light stuff, throwing it out of bounds. So
yes, sir.
Yeah. Anyway, we got about a minute left, so.
All right. Well, I think we're moving towards the draft, and then there's a bunch of wide receiver free agents. So maybe we'll do some talk on who we would want on our squads if we had a shot at a free agent wide receiver. Preview for next show.
Allen Robinson.
Kenny Golladay.
Yeah. Yeah, we can start prepping now.
I will be prepping.
All right, good deal, guys.
Yep. Thanks for watching the show. Go subscribe, like our content.
Listen to our podcast. We get a third of a penny for every listen, roughly. Making
Contribute
bank
to the fun.
Yeah. All right. Later, guys.
Have a good one.